Pleasant day. Today, the Group 3, composed of Kirsten Jane Bocco, Francesca de los Santos, James Joshua Joel Gonzalez, me, Nalangelo Hablado, Kisha Clobello Rico, Eden Mayo, Anika Hart Peñasales, and Therese Angeli Tan will present about algal blooms in Boracay. Jolio was on a vacation in Boracay. While walking through the white sand beach, in the far distance, she saw what might be clusters of tiny green plants on the surface of the water. What she had seen was new to her, so naturally, she got curious about what it could be. Being the curious girl she is, Julia instantly got her phone from her pocket and described the phenomenon she saw to Google. After clicking the search button, she found out that what she observed were called algal blooms. So, what are algal blooms? Algal blooms are thick layers of tiny green plants that can be found on the surfaces of bodies of water. It can be found when nutrients are abundant, especially phosphorus, on which algae depend. Algal blooms can be harmful since it is stated that the green scum formed by the algal blooms can cause toxicity in the water. It can also cause illnesses and death in rare cases. Bacteria break down algae, which depletes the water's oxygen content and could kill fish. When there are high qualities of nitrogen and phosphorus, along with ideal temperatures, sunlight, and low flow, algal blooms can form. And in March 2017, an official of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources said that untreated wastewater from informal settlers triggered the massive growth of algae on the world-renowned island. In a report by Business World, DNR Western Visayas Regional Director Jim Sapulna cited that this finding was based on research conducted in 2015. He also cited the detergents used by the residents of Boracay who do not have waste treatment facilities as a factor in the algal bloom. Jim Sapulna and his team conducted research and the results showed that untreated water triggers the growth of algae. These are chemicals, soap, and shampoo that the informal settlers use. According to international water treatment and purification firm Lentec, phosphates in detergents lead to freshwater algal blooms. Also, it is said that algae releases toxins and when they decompose, they use up the oxygen available for aquatic life.
According to another article, the new water quality guidelines, which set the limits for nitrate, ammonia, and phosphate for Class SB marine waters, need to be urgently reviewed, said Dr. Danilo B. Largo, Director of the Research and Professor of Biology in the University of San Carlos, Cebu City. He revealed that water samples from Boracay, after having been examined, were found to have high levels of nitrogen, nitrate, ammonia, and phosphate, which are beyond the limits set by water quality standards in this country. Nitrate, ammonia, and phosphate are nutrients that enter our water bodies, and which, when formed in excessive amounts, can pollute and imbalance the ecosystem of lakes, streams, and marine waters.
Dr. Largo said that these same nutrients, nitrate, ammonia, and phosphate, are blamed for the growth and proliferation of the green algae called ulva that spoiled Boracay's beautiful beaches. While occurring almost naturally and with a growth peak during summer season, the growth and persistence of this green algae is made worse by eutrophication. You're probably wondering what is eutrophication. Eutrophication is a condition in which water bodies experience an increased load of nutrients that cause algal blooms, low oxygen waters, structural damage in lakes, and in many cases, fish kills. Dr. Largo recounted that his research team first assessed Boracay's water quality in 2002 when green algal blooms were first documented. The research team that inspected the island noted discharge pipes installed in Boracay Station 2 discharging influents directly into the sea.
Next, we will share with you some facts we found out about algal blooms. What is an algal bloom and what causes it? Algae are a natural part of all aquatic ecosystems, but prolific growth can cause a dense mass of algae called a bloom to form. Algal blooms are a large concentrations of algae that grow in warm waters of oceans, lakes, and rivers. They are often harmful to marine life, and some bloom varieties can be toxic to humans. Blooms that grow exceptionally large are also proving to be harmful to economies that rely on tourism. Excess nitrogen and phosphorus cause an overgrowth of algae in a short period of time, also called algae blooms. The overgrowth of algae consumes oxygen and blocks sunlight from underwater plants. When the algae eventually dies, the oxygen in the water is consumed. So when can algal blooms occur? Algae blooms can occur when a combination of suitable environment conditions exist for abundant algal growth. Example, increased nutrients, warm temperature, abundant light, and stable wind conditions. When these conditions are favorable for one species over another, it allows for one organism to become dominant and form a bloom. While bloom formation is water body specific, the most common factors for bloom formation are timing, nutrients, temperature, light, and stable conditions.
Another question that you're probably thinking is if algal blooms are harmful. Well, here is the answer. Algal blooms can reduce the ability of fish and other aquatic life to find food and can cause entire populations to leave an area or even die. Harmful algal blooms cause thick green muck that impacts clear water, recreation, businesses, and property values. Elevated nutrient levels and algal blooms can also cause problems in drinking water in communities nearby and upstream from dead zones. As mentioned earlier, the three nutrients that cause the growth of algal blooms to occur are nitrate, phosphate, and ammonia. Once the harmful algal blooms grow, they release toxins that contaminate our drinking water. This contaminated drinking water can cause illness not only to us humans but also to other animals. This will lead us to a question on how we can reduce algal blooms. Planting trees and shrubs around a water body will reduce input of sediments and therefore nutrients into the water body. The plants also provide shade to the water body, which reduces the temperature and solar radiation reaching the water body. This will help in the prevention of the blue-green algal blooms. Did you know that algae are microscopic organisms that live in aquatic environments and use photosynthesis to produce energy from sunlight just like plants? The excessive algal growth or algal bloom becomes visible to the naked eye and can be green, blue-green, red, or brown depending on the type of algae. Algae are always present in natural bodies of water such as oceans, lakes, and rivers, but only a few types can produce toxins. In these algae, toxin production can be stimulated by environmental factors such as light, temperature, and nutrient levels. Algal toxins released into the surrounding water or air can seriously harm people, animals, fish, and other parts of the ecosystem.
In conclusion, algae is a natural part of the ecosystem of bodies of water. But as everything in life, too much of something is bad, just like how too much algae is harmful to the ecosystem. It steals oxygen from other aquatic plants, releases toxins and contaminates the water, and causes populations of aquatic life to die. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, began cleaning up the shorelines of the wetlands of Boracay. The algal blooms floating in the ocean and littering the seashore were collected with a fish net, carried to the coast, and ultimately covered with the white sand of the island. They claim that when exposed to sunshine, this green algae will dry up and turn into powder. It is one of the reasons, according to residents, that the island's sand remains powdered white. We should do our best to reduce the spread of algal blooms. Some ways to do this is to avoid urinating when swimming at the beach, Also, no dishwashing waste should be dumped on the ground, since the ground of Boracay is karstic or fractured. These nutrients will soak into the soil and discharge as submarine groundwater. After Jolyu has learned all these things about algal blooms in Boracay, she decided to spread awareness about it to her family and friends. She also became more conscious about the environment. We should all be like Jolyu, be more aware of our surroundings, and help keep places we visit clean.
So now, the presentation of Group 3 about algal blooms is over, and I hope that you have learned something about algal blooms, and I hope that the knowledge we have imparted will be useful someday. So, thank you for listening.